All right, today what we're going to do is we're going to look at significant figures. So significant figures is you're right, is a type of rounding of numbers, yeah? And what we've been used to is previously is we've been doing decimal places. So they will say round to 2 decimal place or round to 3 decimal places. So we'll just write that down. So for an example, if we'd had a number like, this, and I'd said, and the question said round to 2, often 2 decimal place, what you've done is you've looked at you want 2 decimal places, so you go and you look at the third. If the third one was 5 or above, you would round up. If it's not, you would keep it the same. So for that number, it would be 0.23. And say if I said 3 decimal places, I would look at the fourth number. If it was 5 and above, the third place has to go up. So the answer for this one would be 0.235. Okay, that's normal rounding. So when they say round to a decimal place, that's what you do. When they say round to 2 significant figures, that is that's different. And we have some rules that we have to do. So for rules for significant figures, all non-zero digits are significant. So non-zero means if you've got a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yep, and they're all significant. Now, all zeros between significant digits are significant. So what they mean by that, if you had, say, a number like, I'm just making this up. Say you had this number here, 200,413. These 2 zeros are significant. They're significant because they're in between non-zero numbers. So if I wrote that number there, that number has been rounded to 6 significant figures, because there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures there, yeah? So the thing is, and then the other rule is, after a decimal point, all zeros to the right of a non-zero are significant. So what that means is, if I had a number, and I'll write another number, so say I had this number here, okay? So what we're saying is this one is significant, and they're also saying all numbers to the right of a non-zero. So that one's significant, but these ones are not significant. So it's not until you get to, after the decimal place, it's not until you get to a number that's not 0 that you would count it as significant. All right, so if I was to tell you what this one is, the number I'd written, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 6 numbers, that would still be 6 significant figures, even though it's written like that. Oh, sorry. That would be 6 significant figures. All right, so we really need to learn this. Why do we have to do this? Because when we talk about statistics, we sometimes, like if we're talking about selling houses, we don't want to go to the nearest dollar, so we're going to start rounding to significant figures. So we'll do these ones for an example. So what I mean by that here, so we've got the 4,213. They want me to round to 3 significant figures. So what you do is you just want to start counting as soon as you've got a non-zero. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you'd have that. Then you look at the fourth one, just like we did with rounding. If it was 5 and above, this number, the third one, would have to go up. But because it's not, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 4, 2, 1, and then I'm just going to put a 0 there. And I've rounded it to 3 significant figures. Now, I need to still put the 0 there, because if I didn't put the 0 there, wouldn't the number look like 421? And that wouldn't make sense, would it? Because it's not, it's 4,000. So when it's like that, that's how you got to do it. So what do you think would be 2 significant figures? It would be 4200. Good. So you're going to put zeros when you're on the left side of a decimal point, meaning the whole number. This is how you do it. What would 1 significant figure be? Would it just be 4,000? Like that? Yeah? So you're rounding it to, we can say 1 significant figure. Sometimes in the past they might have said round to the nearest 1,000, but now we're just going to see these significant figures. All right, so let's do the one underneath. What would the one underneath be? To 3 significant figures, it's going to be 6, 4. Now this one's got to go up, so it'd be 4 with a 0. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. And then what about the next one? 2 significant figures would just be 6, 4. That 3 is not higher than a 5. And then this last one would be 6,000. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through now. With this one, 3 significant figures. So I start counting straight away. So 1, 2, 3. So I've got 23 point. Now, because that 5, that goes up to 7. Now, I don't need to put a 0 once I've gone into the decimal point. I don't I? Because if I had 23.7, is that the same as 23.70? Yeah, so we don't put the 0 once we're after the decimal place. So this one, when it says 2 significant figures, I would just write 24, because that 6 is higher than a 5. It goes up. Now, 1 significant figure, I need to write the 2, but I need the 0 there, don't I? Because it's on the other side of the decimal place. If I just wrote 2, is 2 rounding 23.65? No, that's like chopping it dramatically. All right, so I'm going to pause there. I'll let you have a go at the next one. See if you can do the next. All right, let's go. So 3 significant figures would be 43.9. 2 significant figures would be 44, and 1 significant figure would be 40. Okay, did everyone get that? Yeah. Good. Now with this one, the next one, remember we don't start counting until we get the non-zeros. So when they say 3 significant figures, it'd be 1, 2, 3. So therefore, that one I just write that number out again. When it says 2, don't start counting till I get to that 4, and because the third one is a 5, it goes up, and then 1 significant figure will actually be 0.05 because the 6 is higher than a 5. All right, then let's quickly do the rest. Okay, so this one got a little bit tricky here. It says when you've got to go to 1 significant figure, so that means I count 1, but I've got to look at the one after. Now, because it's a 6, that 9 has to go up, so it goes up, and it would actually just be 1. You don't even need the 0.0, so it actually comes to just 1. All right. Okay, with this one, you got to be careful. So when it says 2 significant figures, so you start counting when you get to the 7. So the next 0 is significant. So that's why I have to show that other 0 there when it says 2 significant figures. So be careful with that one. Okay, so just check your answer.